I haven't seen the film version of the Andromeda Strain in a long time, but I read the book several times as a child, and the solution to the mystery always struck me as an interesting metaphor, and it has always stuck with me. So if you don't recall the story, at least from the book version, there's a government research satellite that crash lands in a town in Nevada, and the townspeople bring it to the doctor's office to take a look at it. And within an hour or two, everybody in town is dead from some mysterious condition. So some biohazard researchers are brought in, and there's a secret government lab, and they try to figure out what this thing is. And it doesn't seem to be made of organic compounds. It doesn't seem to have DNA. It doesn't seem to be living. It seems to be crystalline in structure. There's all kinds of problems, and they can't figure out exactly how it's killing people. All they know is that two people in this little town of 100 and something residents, two people survived. An old dude who was a lifelong drunk, and a little baby who was bawling its head off when the hazmat team found the kid. And the big mystery that they were trying to figure out is like, these seem like opposite people. These seem like people that have nothing in common, old and young, healthy, and, you know, having had a hard life. But eventually the doctor who figures it out decides to look back through some of the lab tests that they've already done. And they've done hundreds of things trying to figure this out, so they haven't even had a chance to examine all the data. And he suddenly realizes that what links these cases is the fact that they are opposites. The old dude hasn't been able to afford regular booze, so he's been distilling alcohol from little sterno cans, the kinds of things that you use at a campsite to heat your food up. And the baby is bawling its head off and basically hyperventilating. So the old dude's blood is acidic, and the little kid's blood is alkaline. And the doctor looks at the data and realizes that whatever this pathogen is, it only functions in a very narrow pH range, around the same pH as the human body. And so as long as you can keep people in an artificially heightened state of being alkaline or acidic, you can protect them for long enough. And then the thing mutates and becomes innocuous anyway. And, you know, there's a whole bunch of crises after this has already been figured out. But the thing about the narrow pH range always stuck with me, and it was referred to as the freeway hypothesis. You can't go too fast or you can't go too slow. You got to kind of keep the same median speed as everybody else, or, you know, something will happen like a traffic jam or an accident. And obviously in the book, the point is to be outside that narrow range. But what it tells us about human life in general is that sometimes we need to be within that range. Very often, we thrive best when we're not too far off the norm in one way or another. And I've particularly found a lot of value over the years in applying that to my own exercise and fitness routine. Because, you know, when I started working out, I was afraid about doing too much. But I was also coming off of many years when I had done too little. And figuring out the proper range for myself and sticking within it was a process. And I still have to work at it because as I have changed and grown, my zone of good functioning has moved, and I'm capable of doing more than I used to be. But I also sometimes need more rest. The fitness industry as a whole tends to push us to extremes. Cut this entire food group out of your life, only do this kind of exercise, you know, sweat until you drop. And meanwhile, life in general, culture in general, tells us that we can be as sedentary as we please and nothing bad will ever happen. Well, you know, both of those are extremes and they tend not to be true. Try not to underdo it. Try not to overdo it. Realize that the median value of your range, your happy medium, your happy place, may shift with time. You may be able to expand your range in one direction or the other, and life may hand you challenges that restrict your range. And you may have to continue to figure that out and work through the process as you go along, but you can and you should. Hey fam, if you've made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you. Second of all, if this video or any of my others have entertained you, made you smile, taught you something, given you some support on your own journey for mental or physical health and fitness, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if that's too much of a commitment right now, please at least give it a thumbs up. You'd be amazed how much that does for the engagement on a YouTube channel like mine. As I film this, I'm closing in on making my 100th clip. And old timers on YouTube will tell you that that's probably the minimum you need to get noticed by the algorithm. So I'm hoping as I get to that point and as I close in on 6 months to a year of making these, that the algorithm will start to prioritize me higher. And your thumbs up or a comment or a subscription will bolster that process. I don't object to making money at this, but right now I'm not sponsored. I'm not charging anything. I'm really doing this as a labor of love because of how much benefit I've gotten from this myself. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your attention. Go kick some butt, including your own, in a good way. Love ya.